Present.
President, Vice President Markey,
Present.
Secretary Lawson,
Present.
Trustee Getwood,
Present.
Trustee Gilroy,
Present.
Trustee Thompson,
Public participation, we have none. Staff reports, Dr. Corey.
Thank you, President Ambrose. And it has been a wonderful week in the Port Arthur Independent School District. This week, we celebrated American Education Week. And we've had a lot of activities during the week, and that is a good thing. Our kids are doing well. Teachers are doing well. We're enjoying the cool weather, of course. And today, we had our Thanksgiving meal. So kids were able to eat, and for the first time in a long time, they had dessert. They had pecan pie, they had the cherry pie, so that was a good thing. So we're really were excited about everything that is going on with our schools on this week. Of course, we are still celebrating the Memorial High School Titans. Memorial again, and this week they will play Frisco Wakeland Wolverines, and they will play Friday, November 18th at 7 o'clock at the A. Martin Stadium in Southwest Drive in Lufkin. So we're excited about that. We're happy that our kids are moving on, and that is a good thing. We've already started basketball season, so all that is intertwined all around each other, so that's a good thing. As we move forward, we have principals that are here, and we are doing targeted improvement plans, and we're very proud of our principals and what they've accomplished and what they're doing. They're working really hard. The year is going by really quickly, and I guess that's good in some ways and not so good in others, because we still have a lot of work to do. I will turn it over to Dr. Getwood, and I want to thank Dr. Getwood, Dr. Vine, Dr. Kelsey, and Mrs. Cartwright for working with our principals, our hard-working principals, and making sure that they're getting everything they need in order to have a successful school year. As I said, everyone is working really hard, and we are very pleased with what they're doing. So, Dr. Getwood.
Thank you very much, Dr. Porter. Good evening, Board President Ambrose, members of the Board of Trustees. As you're aware, the Texas schools and school districts are a part of the state accountability system. They are rated based upon their overall scale score as a result of students' performance on the STAR EOC exams. If a school receives a letter grade below 70, it's not rated, and the campus is identified for school improvement. One of the requirements of school improvement is the campus must develop a targeted improvement plan with strategies to move out of school improvement. Tonight, the campus improvement plans will be presented for two not rated campuses, Lincoln Middle School and Memorial High School, and one campus with a B rating. Thomas Jefferson campus moved this year from the not rated status to earning a letter grade of B. The Thomas Jefferson campus must maintain a rating of 70 or above for the 22-23 school year to be removed from the school improvement list. The targeted improvement plans have required, as Dr. Porter said, intensive work at the campus level with solid support from Dr. Vine, Dr. Orange, Mrs. Cartwright, and Dr. Oregon, Ms. Knowlton, Mr. Kevin Johnson, Dr. Adrian Murphy, and Mrs. Lasagna Baptiste. And the way we're going to present these hardworking principals as they come up, we'll start with Dr. Mitchell, and following Dr. Mitchell will be Mr. Fulton from Memorial High School, and then Dr. Lewis from Thomas Jefferson Middle School. And we certainly appreciate the work that they have done. It has required a lot of man hours, and they have not complained. They've done what we've asked them to do, and they've developed quality plans. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Dr. Getwood, and good evening to the ladies and gentlemen of the board. campus, and we are coming to present our plan for the targeted improvement. We would say to you that first we want to apologize for having the district in such an embarrassing disposition for our not moving forward and receiving the grade of that. We will certainly begin our quest and our work to make sure that this does not repeat itself. We've begun this by giving you a review of what we're needing to happen. By sharing with you some of the highlights that we have for the campus, and that we are about 100% staffed with what we need to have to move forward. We have a total of 60 instructional staff members and 5 administrators, 2 counselors, and the rest of supportive staff that we need to have in place. Our special ed, our good technical programs are all in place. Fine arts and all of those areas are certainly intact. We are a campus of about 725 students with that dynamic. About 59% of us are African American and 36% Hispanic. The others are made up of other ethnicities. Our special groups or special pops that we would make reference to special ed is about 14%. ESL, 17%. Our at-risk is about 22%. We are not rated as made reference by Dr. Deadwood, and our proposed methodology of overcoming this not ratedness is to begin our work. We have initially had our administrators go to work and dissect most of what we were needing to have in the accountability plan that referenced where our areas of shortcomings were listed. Student achievement, school progress, academic growth, and closing the gaps were all of those areas that we specifically cited to begin our quest for making those items happen. With regards to our reading, we had about 58% of our youngsters were successful in at least approaching and moving to the master's level. We had a total of 42% that did not meet the standard. Our goal is to move those did not meet into the approaches and to further areas. We're doing most of those by presenting with us what we need to have happen with our PLCs, being led by our curriculum specialists and administrators are moving forward to make sure that teachers are having all of the tools that we need to have and do all of the kind of exercises that we need to have to move youngsters forward. With regards to our math areas, we were at 43% from the approaches moving through the master's level. Our goal again is to move many of the 57% did not meet into the approaches area. And the way we're doing that is that we are data diving into areas that we're needing to make sure that we are showing signs of growth and making movements productive and positive. As we look through the PLCs in terms of researching, revising, and revisiting what we need to have happen, we're making sure that our quarterly assessments are going to be in a movement direction. As we look through the first area of where we were with that movement, we fell short of making sure that that framework that the district is, that the state has put forth was one of those areas that we made sure that the quality instruction was going to be presented, positive school culture was enforced, and strategic staffings were made ready for us. As we planned and as we implemented and as we identified the specific needs, what we would need to have to make those movements forward, we then began to do our self-assessment and identify within ourselves what we thought were the 2 key areas. As a building leader, I thought that 1-1 was going to be the area that I would specifically say I need to be addressing that because as the building leader of Lincoln Middle School, I felt that it was my obligation to make sure that the roles for the administrative team and the teaching staff were clearly defined and made those roles and responsibilities ever present in what we were needing to have to move forward. With the 5-3 was the second area of our concentration. We wanted to look at making sure that data-driven instruction was going to be the key post of what we were needing to have happen, making sure that the planning and implementing of what we were going to have the movements take place with were going to be dealt with specifically with what we have seen with the data. As we look at what the specifics look like with the data movement, the first part of the assessment gave us an inkling of what we were needing to do to retool, retrench, and to retread what we were needing to have happen for our first level section. We began to put in place and implement weekly assessments so that we could monitor and see whether growth was beginning to occur. So as we look at making those kind of elements happen, we would say to you at this time that our plan is fully supported by Drs. Portery, Getwood, and Vine, and Dr. Kelsey, in making sure that we have all of the tools that we need. Daily walkthroughs are ever present in making sure that we're seeing what's going on in the classroom and monitoring and maintaining that element of what we're needing to have to move forward. I'll entertain any questions that you may have at this time.
Trustees. Trustee Getwood, trustee Getwood.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Mitchell, for that presentation, and I know for a fact that everything is going to be all right. I wanted to first and foremost just start by saying thank you and your executive team for all that you do. I will be very transparent and very honest. Being that I graduated high school, 2 years ago now, and being out of the school system is definitely different looking in, but I have to say that I had an opportunity when visiting your campus to see the committed leadership that you all have and the dedication that you have to that school and to your students. I know for a fact that you have many days when you come in early and you leave late. I was there and I witnessed it myself. You all leaving late. You left just in time to make it to the football game to see the Titans win. But without your dedication and without your strength, without your wisdom and your knowledge, our campus will not be what it is today. So I want to encourage you to keep moving forward. If there's anything that you need that we can assist you with in helping make this better. I don't care what social media says. I don't care what the word is in the community. If there's anything that we can do, because we're not in those schools with you, we don't know what goes on a day-to-day basis, but I got a taste of it. And I want you to know that it will get better. With your leadership, it will get better. And if there's anything that we can do, please let us know. If there's any additional help that you need on campus, whatever it is, please get into the administration building so we can get you the help you need to assist in this plan.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening. Puerto Rican board members. I guess we'll just start. Hey, y'all, so let me be transparent with you, right? I'm just a little nervous standing in front of you guys. Y'all kind of look really good. But I'm gonna make it. Campus profile. We have 193 employees at Memorial High School. That's one principal, one dean of discipline, one CAPE coordinator, 6 assistant principals, 2 instructional coaches, 7 counselors, which includes the counselor at the CAPE building, 71 high school teachers, 24 CAPE teachers, 14 Kelly subs that are serving in permanent sub roles right now, 10 paraprofessionals, 8 aides, 12 front office staff. We've got a lot of people over there, y'all. 193. For students at Memorial High School, 10 to 12, I have 556 10th graders, 466 556 10th graders, 466 11th graders, 403 12th graders. Also note we have 522 ninth graders at the 9th grade campus. The reason that's important is that our populations are going up. We're looking at a 10% jump, it looks like, coming forward. So the school is growing right now. This is what our demographics look like. We have a global population with students from different cultures, and this is what it looks like. Our total enrollment between the two campuses is about 1947. Of that 1947, 69.4% is showing up as economically disadvantaged, but we know that there are about another 300 or some odd students out there that did not complete their forms that qualified. What we've done is we've taken the information that we needed, identified those students, and we're dividing it up to see if we can assist them and their families get that paperwork filled out. The reason that's important to us is that we're grouped with a group of schools that are in our same category, let's say 69%. But once you get moved up to that 80% rank, which is about where we should be, the parameters change for us in terms of helping us get out of this situation where we're non-rated school. We've got about 7.9% of students receiving special education according to the data. Emergent bilingual and English language learners are 10.89%, but those numbers are increasing. Like I said, we've got our numbers growing. Asian Americans are about 4.6%, African Americans are 45%, Hispanics are 44.7%. You're looking at just about equity in those two groups. American Indians will show 1.2%, Caucasian 1.5%, and two or more races less than a percent, 0.5%. 48% female, 51% male. The Hispanic and Latino populations are on the rise, like I just said, each year. We also receive students from other countries in our LAP and ELL programs. I was standing outside one day where a student walked up. She was from India, like literally she had just got in the country 2 days before. So we're getting students from other groups. The reason those types of things are important, we have a 14.4% mobility rate. And I was really surprised to find out that we have 160 students that are identified as African American that are in that status. That's 7.3% of our population. Kids don't come to school because they're moving around and stuff. It makes it very, very difficult to teach it, but we are, of course, do the best we can. The end of course test and the CBAs, our ELL population don't do very well on that, but they have performed well on the TELPAS. Our attendance continues to be an issue, and we have had small gains, but it's always an issue with this population. Dr. Mitchell talked a little bit about the effective schools framework. We know the core of an effective school is going to be effective instruction. That's the business that we're in. We know in order to have effective instruction, you have to have a positive school culture where people are relaxed enough and want to learn, and teachers are relaxed enough where they want to teach. You have to have high quality instructional materials and assessment. Our curriculum instruction department does that job, and they do it well. And you have to have strategic staffing. And give your a shout out to Mr. Wild for making sure that we are staffed. But on top of all of that, you have to have effective, strong school leadership and planning. The process is, as Dr. Mitchell just mentioned, number one, you have to identify the needs that you have. You have to, based on those needs, plan, and then you have to implement and monitor. And it's a continuous implementation and monitoring process. And once you implement and monitor, you have to see whether or not the plan was successful. You got to go back and try the same thing again because some pieces were missing, or if there's something that you have to change. We're in the situation we're in now because we were not rated in student achievement. We did receive a C in school progress and a C in closing the gap, but we were not rated in school achievement. We received a letter grade lower than C, and I believe the grade was a D. Now, when we sat down and looked at what we had and what we had to work with, our estimations were derived from our 2022 data, and account for a minimum overall 10% growth rate for the 2022-23 school year. Several factors play into our eventual outcome. For example, teacher shortages, classes being filled by long-term substitutes. However, we strategically placed certified teachers in those content areas that are being tested, where they're available, and where we did not have a certified teacher, we have some long-term subs that do a phenomenal job for us. What they're lacking is certification and maybe a degree, but their results show that they know what they're doing. We have had several additions to the campus since September 9th. We've hired several teachers. Now, this is going to seem strange to you because the way we did this is this. From where we were last year to where we need to be, there's a number that's identified as a percentage. And that's the gap between where you are and where you need to get. It just so happens that the three populations that we looked at, the gap was 6%, 6%, and 4%. The 6% African Americans, 6% Hispanic Latino, and 4% economically disadvantaged. We could have chosen any subject to do this, but the gap was larger. So what we have done is leveraged our position and chosen the shortest distance. You're going to have gains in all the other areas. In ELAR, we have set the following goals: 58% approaches, 39% meets, 10% masters. In math, even though that's not our focus, in math it's 68% approaches, 27% meets, and 11% masters. In science, 77, 37, and 10. And in social studies, 80, 47, and 29. All of those are at least 6 percentage points above where we were when we failed. But we look to do more than just the 6%. What the state of Texas and Effective Schools framework requires you to do, you're going to look at your essential actions. There are 5 essential actions, and I just wanted to give you an overview of this. The strong leadership and planning, strategic staffing, positive school culture, high quality instructional materials and assessments, and effective instruction. Well, we've chosen is lever 1, which is strong school leadership and planning. Again, it's being strategic about what you do. If you build capacity in the people that your assistant principals and your leadership, and then you leverage that, and now they can build capacity in their department chairs, and leverage that, and now they can build capacity in their teachers, you find yourself being building skill in each one of those levels. I came from the military. Our motto is see one, do one, teach one, and it's exactly that quick. So what we've done, I'm building capacity in the administrative staff. The administrative staff is building capacity in both the teachers and the lead teachers in each one of those areas. Effective campus instructional leaders with clear roles and responsibilities develop, implement, and monitor focused improvement plans that address the causes of low performance. What we're doing right now is we're doing our calibration walks weekly. Let me take that back. We're doing our calibration walks daily. We find that we're really becoming in tune with what we're looking for. We want to make sure that we're all looking for the same things. We're evaluating teachers. We're building capacity in our teachers, not only by doing calibration walks, but doing frequent visits to their classrooms. We're reviewing lesson plans. Everything that you need to do to make sure that instruction is going on. What I tell teachers all the time is this, is that you would never get in the car and take a trip to someplace unknown without having a roadmap. Your lesson plan is your roadmap. The other area that we're looking at is effective instruction. Campus leaders provide teachers with job-related professional development and access to time and data needed to reflect, adjust, and deliver instruction that meets the needs of all students. We have the exact same levers that Dr. Mitchell has, and it's because you can leverage those things to make sure that you get the best bang for your buck as you're doing it. What our expectation is that by December 2022, we'll have 25 to 50% of our teachers being able to review data, 25 to 50% of our leadership team, not only including the assistant principals, but our instructional coaches, just anyone that's on the leadership team, 25 to 50% of them implementing what we have going on by December 2022, by February 2023, 50 to 75%. And by the time we get to the end of the year, this will just become a part of our culture and what we do and the way that we do business. And here are the numbers I spoke about a few minutes ago. What we're trying to do is close the gap. If you look at the data for 2021, the result was 28% in ELA. They passed. The target is 32. The gap between that is 6. So what we've done is we've selected as our closing the gap focus to be the African Americans and academic achievement is ELA. We did the same thing with the Hispanic population, academic achievement, ELA, and the gap is 6. With 80% of our students being economically disadvantaged, we've doubled our buck. Each time one of these students, the chances are each time one of these students meets the mark academically, they're also going to feel the next rung, which is academic achievement for economically disadvantaged. So each student that meets the mark, we're going to get, basically 2 points high, 2 percentage points. So we've leveraged that. That gap right there for them was 4%. The target is 33. That gap was 4%. So when we look at our assessments, we're looking for our cycle 1 formative goal to be 6 percentage points higher than the 2021, which was 36, or which was 30. So for 36, and then we moved it up 2% for cycle 2 for a summative goal of 40%. What that'll do, that'll get us, can I say it? That'll get us 70. I'm hoping that will get us 70. And I think it will. Okay? Our teachers are working really, really hard to get it done. Essential action 1, develop campus instructional leaders with clear roles and responsibilities. The evidence of development, this is our desired 90-day outcome. Evidence of development and dissemination of clear roles and responsibilities are being discussed and clarified with instructional leaders will be evidenced by the implementation of teachers utilizing the protocols that have been taught through the effective coaching. So the main goal for our administrators is to coach our teachers and show them how to do the job. Let me tell you something. You can stand here and talk to somebody all day long and tell them how to do something. They'll shake their head. They'll say, yeah, I got it. But most of us are visual learners. So what I've done with the administrators is I model what I want them to do in their meetings. And it can't just be done by talking about it and shaking your head. I not only want you to hear what I'm saying, I want you to see what I'm doing, and then I want you to do it for me. So as we go through our meetings, you might be leading the next meeting, you might be leading the next meeting, and what I'll do is I'll stop you in the middle of what you're doing if you're not doing it the way we talked about, because it has to be correct care. You can't go out there and do it the wrong way. Our desired 90-day outcome for essential action 5.3 is data-driven instruction. By November 30th, 2022, we're looking for 25 to 50%. That goes back to the number I just talked to you about, of our teachers that were coached. They should individually produce improved lesson plans that reflect more thought and depth in their than their previous versions. And the coaching continues. So when you look at the lesson plan, you should be able to see some growth in what they had before and what they have now. And the picture should be so clear and so outlined that it should look like one of those Carnival Cruise commercials where it paints a picture for you. And you see yourself graduating. You see yourself going on to your career, to college, etc. And you see yourself learning. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build that capacity in our kids. It's important. And if you look at the attitude with the kids at the school, y'all, it's a flip. We had over 500 kids lined up to go to a homecoming dance before the doors opened. And the kids are loving it. And so are we. This is a traditional greeting of the Maasai warrior, Maasai tribe warriors. The greeting is, how are the children? And this is the mantra that we have in the building. We walk around, we ask each other, how are the children? If the answer to the question is the children are well, we know we've done our job. But if the answer to the question is the children are not well, we set down our war instruments, our spears and guns or whatever it is we have, and everybody focuses on taking care of the children. Until the children are well, we're not doing it. And that's what we look forward to doing, is taking care of the children. I'll entertain any questions.
Trustee
How you doing, Mr. Phillips?
I'm doing good, sir.
Great, sir. Thank you for your, service, Veterans Day was just passed, so thank you for your service. What programs are we implementing before and after school to help us reach these goals that you have, showed us today? And if we have some in it, could you share?
Our before and after school program is going to be implemented starting in January.
Why
Okay?
in January? Well, if the schools were, they didn't just get low today, they got low from last year, we should have, why we didn't start in September?
Yes, sir. I'll be frank with you. I got a complicated start on things, and
Okay,
I have some fires to put out. I will not waste the taxpayers' money or the district's money. So before I implement a plan, I make sure that I've got the plan implemented to its fullest. I did the same thing, those in high school. We have a plan. One of the things we did is we divided the kids based on what tests they failed. So they're getting some scaffold assistance right now with 45. This is what I mean. If a student failed, let's say, failed to meet the standard in English, that student is going to 45 for English on an 8-day interview day. If a student failed in English in a math class and he's identified, that student is going to 45 on 8-day, maybe going to English, on a B-day, he may be going to math. If a student failed 3 or more tests, what we do is we look at the shortest distance for them to pass the test. And we take those 2 lowest areas, and they're going to go to those 2 targeted 45 classes. So we do have some things in place. I just don't have everything in place right now that I need. And part of that reason, like I said, that we're not going to waste money. Number 2, I didn't have staff and personnel to do.
so we're gonna start in January?
We're going to start in January, hit the ground running.
Before school and after school, right?
After school.
Not before.
That could be something we could talk about. Now remember, you know what time we start school, right?
7:30.
7:30.
Hey, I go to
So
work
how
at
do you-
4:30.
Yes, sir. How do
We
you
up
kids?
at 5, 6 o'clock, go get some learning.
I'm just saying, how do kids do?
We take buses. They can drop them to homecoming when we had 500 standing waiting to do. You can have them same 500 standing at the school at 6 in the morning.
That was in the evening, sir. That was in the evening. But yeah. Come on, talk about it. I would love to sit down and see that. I'm not close to anything.
Trustee Gilbert.
Mr. Fulton,
So,
I just want to say thank you for the job that you're doing. We know that you inherited something that didn't just occur this past year, but you inherited something that occurred over probably the last 3 to 5 years or so. So one of the key things that it brought to my attention and probably wasn't covered in your presentation was the teamwork aspect. This is something that we probably need to address district-wide, but at the high school specifically, I believe you're key to your success. Because you're a catbird seat. You got an opportunity to make some tremendous ground in the area of education, building a strong team. And I say that by building relationships, a relationship that suggests to your staff that you're going to protect them, that you're going to support them, and if they go wrong, you're going to help them, and that you're not going to throw them out to the wolves. We need to do a better job in this district communicating, building a level of confidence so our teachers can come to school feeling confident that when they walk in that classroom, that they're going to do their job and they're going to be supported. And if they fall short, we're going to help them. And I think that's going to be a key in this district being successful. The plan is great, no doubt. But relationship is one of the most important things because people are going to go to bat for you if you treat them well. Keep that in mind as you move forward. And again, sir, thank you so much for taking on the challenge of this district and of the high school.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fulton.
Good evening, I bring you greetings from Thomas Jefferson Middle School, 2200 Jefferson Drive, where the Titans reside. We did make great strides this year, and we are very happy about it, but we know that we still have work to do. We are maintaining at this time, and we want to continue to maintain our growth. And so that is our goals for this year. We did receive 2 distinctions for the 21-22 school year with comparative academic growth and comparative closing the gap. And so I do thank you all, board of trustees, my fellow peers as principals and my family for the continued support so that we can continue to grow and do what we need to do in the best interest of the children of Clark Independent School District. Our campus profile, of course, Thomas Jefferson is one of 2 middle schools serving 6th through 8th grade students in the Port Arthur Independent School District. All refineries surround Thomas Jefferson, and many of our parents work in those refineries or in the state and federal prisons nearby. Lamar State College and Lamar University are the higher education institutions that most students attend upon graduating from high school. Both colleges are 10 to 15 minutes away from Thomas Jefferson Middle School. We, at the time that this presentation was made, we were at 838 students enrolled. We are now currently at 850 students and growing. We have 293 students in 6th grade, 275 in 7th grade, and 270 in 8th grade. There are 411 female students and 427 male students. We have 32.1% African American population, 61.93% Hispanic, 1.2% white, 1.1% American Indian, 2.7% Asian, 0.12% Pacific Islander, and 0.84% 2 or more races. Program participation for Jefferson students is as follows. 86.4% are economically disadvantaged. We did just do more work on obtaining our low socioeconomic status numbers, and so now we are at 91% of economically disadvantaged. 7.88% are 504 students, and 38.07% are emergent bilingual. 5.85% are migrant. We have 4.65% dyslexic, and 33.77% are at risk in the campus. 93 students are receiving special education services, and disabilities will be intellectual disabilities at 20.43%, learning disabilities 45.16%, physical disabilities 0%, autism 8.6%, and behavioral disabilities 4.3%. We have 4 students identified as homeless. Summarily, our diversity is our strength. Our Hispanic student population is our largest population. However, every student at Jefferson is a source of cultural information and inspiration, enriching the entire student body by sharing talents and ideas. Getting to the data for Thomas Jefferson, we did well in all of our domains, but we're looking at making certain that we grow and show major progress in our domain 1, which is our student achievement. If you can look at the bar graphs, our approaches would be the gold, the blue is meets, and masters is burgundy. And so we have 56% at approaches, 26% at meets, and 11% at masters for the 22. Our goal for the 23 school year would be 61%, 27%, and 11%, that would allow us to maintain our rating or growth. We too are following the effective schools framework with school leadership, strong school leadership and planning, high quality instructional materials and assessments, positive school culture, and strategic planning. We do hone in on this. We're firm, fair, and consistent across the board with our faculty, staff, and students. We thank our parents for the continued support. They show up and they show out every single time we have an event or we ask them. They come, they work with us, and we can have very candid, transparent conversations with our parents in regards to our students, so we're happy about that. We are receiving all of the high-quality instructional materials that we are requesting and needing due to grant funding or Title I funds, so we are very blessed and in capacity that we can meet the needs of our students with different supplemental materials that are that's helping us reach our goals with our students. Our prioritized focus areas in the targeted improvement plan will be Essential Action 5.1, effective classroom routines and instructional strategies, and Essential Action 5.3, data-driven instruction. Data drives our instruction. If students are not getting it, I tell the teachers, scratch the gag, which is the year at a glance, and let's go back and get our students what they need. We are not going to just pace ourselves as though we are robots. Our children learn, and we teach them how they learn. We don't teach them in the way in which we want to continue on being robotic. So I'll have my teachers stop. We'll communicate with the curriculum supervisors, and we go back and we get the students and meet them where they are. And so we are very intentional about data-driven instruction. Our HB 4545 has been mapped out with prescriptive tutorials. So the first 45 minutes of the day, we are in prescriptive tutorials, and these students have been grouped according to their needs. So if the students had struggles or challenges with math or reading STAR on last year, they would basically go to that grouping. As far as if you're a math only student, you're with the math teacher. If you're a reading only student, you will be with the ELAR teacher. If you're both, then we mix you with science or social studies to make certain that we can cover those deficits, grab it, and then we use a lot of CAI, which is computer assisted interventions, to make certain that we can scaffold these students, monitor them on the computer, and see where they are to make certain that they are showing continuous progress and growth. And that teacher of record for that particular subject area can look at their data, see where they are, and then we make adjustments where we need to. For our effective classroom routines and instructional strategies, we are again firm, fair, and consistent across the board with our students, so they know the expectations. And I tell them every single day, be a leader and not a follower. And we tell them, I will not lower our expectations. You will rise to the occasion and meet the standard here at Thomas Jefferson. And so they're very well aware. We have a very good group of kids, very respectful, mannerable, and they're there and ready to learn. And again, we thank the parents for having them ready to learn each and every day. Essential Action 5.1, effective classroom routines. We do follow success criteria by following the key practice that we have identified, looking at the success criteria and measuring that, looking at the evidence that will prove to us that we have met that goal, and our current implementation as of right now is underway. So we are currently working on this plan. So for example, 5.1, campus instructional leaders provide training and ongoing support to the teachers. So we continuously in our PLCs, we're continuously coaching our teachers and setting out the expectations that we would need them to do in order for us to be effective in our goals for the campus. And the success criteria that we would measure there would be the campus calendar indicating and dedicating time for ongoing job-embedded professional development, teachers and campus leaders using a framework of classroom management, teachers spending each minute of each class purposefully, we teach bell to bell, and maximizing instruction from entrance to exit. Teachers building strong relationships with students through a variety of means, including establishing high expectations of all students, using encouraging and affirming tone and language, and implementing restorative practices. So we do use a lot of restorative discipline on campus because we do want our children at school. We do not want to always have an out-of-school suspension for them. So we use restorative practices to keep them on campus and to remediate them and their undesired behaviors right there on campus. The evidence there will be several opportunities for ongoing job-embedded professional development through PLCs, staff development, and monthly instructional coach-focused training sessions. So we give the teachers a lot of support, which is what they need, a lot of encouragement. Sometimes I feel like a professional encourager, but it all works out in the end because if the teachers are happy to be there, then everybody's happy. And so we're happy about that. But we do focus on building relationships. Of course, we all know that rules without relationships equal rebellion. So we do implement a lot of things for the students as far as clubs and organizations that meet them where they are, because we understand that every student is not going to be an academic person, a scholar, and every student is not an athlete. So then we implement other things that will show their interest, that will make them want to come to school, as far as the pet club, the tight men on the rise, the fishing club, the cooking club. So it's a plethora of things for them to get into, and just and with that, they also set those goals with their grades, because those sponsors hold them accountable with their grade sheets. And so those types of things have them hold themselves accountable, so we're happy about that. Essential Action 5.3, which is data-driven instruction. The campus instructional leaders review the segregated data to track and monitor the progress. The success criteria for that would be the assessment calendar windows, and the campus instructional leaders meet after each relevant assessment period to desegregate and review data. Coaching and support of teachers is informed by data. We have just created our whole data room with the teachers' data mapped out on the wall, so they can go in there and actually see it. It's visible, it's eye-catching, and it's very easy to interpret. The evidence there is the dedicated time throughout the year for data analysis, and the campus leadership teams discuss the desegregated data to determine the next steps, and again, the current implementation is underway. The high leverage practices that we're using, that's HB 45 advisory classes that I just spoke of, focus on student needs individually. The administrators will actually take the time during advisory to go by and have individual data talks with each and every student. And it takes us a while to do it. It takes us a little while to do it because we have about 850 kids and we only have 4 administrators at the time, including myself. And so, but we do it with the student data folder. The kids can talk the data talk. And so when the kids are talking data talk to you, then you know that they're understanding, internalizing it, and they're interpreting it for themselves. And so that's one thing that we like. We put their past STAR scores in front of them, and then they set their own goals. So when we come in and talk to them, they have a sheet and they can tell us, yes, I know I'm low in this area, and by this CBA, I'm gonna get my mark up to here. And so they can interpret and analyze their data. And so that's a good thing for us. The tiered instruction across grade levels and all content areas, the effective classroom instructional routines and strategies. And then when it gets closer to STAR, we do that rock and review for lead forward. And that's a very fruitful benefit to us and resource. So we love that. The hall and classroom displays, you will see a lot of anchor charts and sample STAR problems around the campus because we just want to keep the momentum going with the students and they're happy about it. So our 90-day goals and outcomes for essential action 5.1, effective classroom routines and strategies. By the end of cycle 1, 80% of the teachers will be trained to use the Titan Plan for success. And that is a parent communication tool for us to make certain that the parents are always kept abreast on what's going on with their students. So every 3 weeks, the teachers have to complete this and make contact with the parents. So we do not have a lot of parent complaints as far as the teacher contact or parent contact because it's an expectation on the campus that you will communicate with these parents every 3 weeks if the students have a C, D, or F in a class because we want to keep the parents well informed. Teachers will use this individualized plan to monitor student success rate and to build effective classroom support in order to maximize teaching and learning. And the Titan Plan for Success will promote structure, routine, and positive relationships among the students, parents, and teachers. For 5.3, our data-driven instruction, essential action by the end of cycle 1, with cycle 1 has ended. 80% of our teachers will utilize the data analysis and intervention planning protocol, and I would even step out and say, we have about 100% of our students trained on, 100% of our teachers trained on these protocols already. And intervention planning protocols to assess and address students' needs as well as to monitor students' progress. Teachers will train students to monitor their own growth with the data portfolio, which is what I just spoke of. And teachers will also hold routine data talks, conferences at the individual student level, as well as the administrators. POC documentation from data talks and teachers' lesson plans will provide evidence of implementation and impact. Do you all have any questions for me?
How you doing, Ms. Lewis? Thank you for, TJ is a wonderful campus. I know they used to do the Saturday school, and will it be implemented back into your program as far as getting our students to school on Saturday? I know they used to focus on just math and reading sometime when they had the Saturday school. It was
Well, I had to like for 6th, 7th grade, math and reading, 8th grade math and reading as well. But our 8th graders will be their first time taking science and social studies. So we do embed that in the advisory period as well. I don't mind doing Saturday school. However, the teachers are not as willing to do Saturday school. They're not signing up to do it. So, but we have already implemented our before school tutorials and after school tutorials, and that's free of charge. Our teachers are not being paid at this point, until we roll over with the paid, and that should be starting after Thanksgiving. But up until now, our teachers have been coming in before school and after school for free of charge because they're dedicated to the academic progress of the school.
Yes, Dr. Lewis, an amazing presentation. Same to you as well, Mr. Fulton. But Dr. Lewis, I definitely wanted to highlight a specific organization that you have inaugurated on your campus that I think we should really look into doing district-wide. That was the Camp Seaport group that you all took. I actually received a few letters from a few of the students, and it actually really opened their eyes and broadened their horizon. As we know, after we graduate high school, college is not the only option anymore. And I think it'd be great if we could pretty much use your inaugural program as a skeleton to see what we can implement that throughout the district to expose our students to the Camp Seaport program. Port is in our name, Port Arthur. The port is right here in the city of Port Arthur. It's a win-win situation where students can also make money, still be educated at the same time, and provide for their families, and still stay here in the city of Port Arthur. So congratulations on that particular organization, and thank you for all that you're doing at Thomas Jefferson. I get nothing but good commentary from the students and from the parents as well. So kudos.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the Maritime Club that you spoke of with Eric Sharon, Mr. Eric Sharon is sponsoring from the Port Arthur. So we do thank them for that. And on to that maritime situation, we also had the junior sellers from the Port Arthur Yacht Club. So we did have a lot of things that the students could partake in and become exposed to. So we are thankful about that.
Vice President Martin.
Dr. Lewis, I would like to thank you for all the hard work that you put in place. I knew from day one when Dr. made the choice to move you as the principal of Thomas Jefferson, he made the correct choice. And from day one, we've been seeing the uprise of TJ Middle School and the direction that it's going. And I want to commend you and thank you for continuing moving your students upward. And just what you said about having our teachers come out free of charge because they're dedicated. It's something that you're doing at Thomas Jefferson, and whatever you're doing, continue to doing it. I'm not just saying it because you're my classmate. I'm saying it because I see your works, I see the work that you are putting in, and I saw the work that you put in throughout the district, through your team here at the district. So continue doing what you're doing at Thomas Jefferson, and we for great things to happen over there as well.
Thank you.
Dr. Lewis, thank you. On behalf of myself and the Board of Trustees, I'd like to thank you and all of the campus administrators for all of your work that you do. It is appreciated. I know it's not easy. It is a task in itself, but we do appreciate all of your efforts. So thank you very much.
Dr. Porter, I would be somewhat remiss tonight if I did not offer kudos to the superintendent, because he is the driving force behind all of what we are doing. And believe me, he's pushing each one of us to get schools where he wants them to go. But guess what? When we do a calibration walk or we do a learning walk, the superintendent is with us, and then he debriefs with us and provides feedback to principals and us as well. And Dr. Porter, at this stage of the game, he didn't ask me to say it. I'm saying that because it's the truth. Thank you, Dr. Porter.
Thank you. Yeah.
President Ambrose and board members, I'm telling you, I'm there, but these people are working till late hours of the night. I get emails from them at night, 9:48, 11 o'clock, and they are working. They are working all day. Everyone in this district is working and doing what they can for the students, from the administration to transportation to child nutrition, paraprofessionals, all of us. And thank you for your support and what you're doing, because it's not an easy job. Education in 2022 is not easy at all. But I think you're doing a marvelous job. You're doing a great job. And thank you to our parents as well, because as I say, educating kids in 2022 is not easy. And I am sure that raising children in 2022 is not easy as well. So our hats go off to parents of this generation. Thank you. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Dr. Portery. That will conclude the staff reports of the agenda. Minutes. Consider and if appropriate approve minutes of the October 27, 2022 regular board meeting. Have a motion? Second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes for the October 27, 2022 regular board meeting are approved. Consent agenda. The following items, which are of a routine and or recurring nature, have been designated consent agenda items by the board president per policy PE local. All of the items in the consent agenda will be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately, unless requested by a trustee, in which event the item or items will be withdrawn immediately for individual consideration in its normal sequence after the items not requiring separate discussion have been acted upon. Trustees, if you'll take a moment and review agenda items 1 through 15. Agenda items 1 through 15. And I will call for a motion once it's done. Agenda items 1 through 15.
Call for a motion. Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor to approve consent agenda items 1 through 15, say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda items 1 through 15 have been approved. Personnel, Dr. Portery.
Yes, President Ambrose, Board of Trustees, I have given you a list, the name for the teacher, or not teacher, nurse for Fort Acres Elementary. This is Casey Segura. Mrs. Segura is an RN.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor to approve the employment of the Fort Acres teacher, Mrs. Nurse, excuse me, I'm sorry, nurse. Casey Segura, say aye.
Aye.
That item is approved. Item number 2, Dr. Porter, consider the proposed termination of contract employees. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board propose the termination of employee Aisha Nichols.
Is there a second? Mrs. Davis, would you please poll the board?
You got to have a second for
I did have a second. I heard Ms. Martin give me a second.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Ms. Davis?
President Ambrose,
Yes.
Vice President Barkey,
Yes.
Secretary Lofton,
No.
Trustee Getwood,
No.
Trustee Guillory,
No.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Narcisse.
No.
And 4 noes and 3 yeses.
The motion failed.
Mr. President, I move that the board propose the termination of employee Tierney DeQuier.
Mrs. Davis, would you please poll the board?
You got a second?
I just heard the second.
You said,
I'm
you
sorry.
said. Who did? I heard you. Okay. Okay.
I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, Ms. Mercy. Mrs. Davis, please.
President Ambrose,
Yes.
Vice President Barkey,
No.
Secretary Lofton,
No.
Trustee Getwood,
No.
Trustee Guillory,
No.
Trustee Johnson,
No.
Trustee Narcisse.
No. The motion failed. Information, Dr. Corey.
Yes, we have, for average daily enrollment, 8,063, average daily attendance, 93.3%.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the board, happy holidays. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.